Ascent Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Escaping the Housing Trap, The Strong Town's Response to the Housing Crisis, by Charles L. Marohn, Jr., with Daniel Herriges. Narrated by Stephen R. Thorne. Limit of liability / disclaimer of warranty. While the publisher and author have used their best efforts in preparing this book, they make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this book, and specifically disclaim any implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales representatives or written sales materials. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for your situation. You should consult with a professional where appropriate. Further, listeners should be aware that websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is listened to. Neither the publisher nor authors shall be liable for any loss of profit or any other commercial damages, including but not limited to special, incidental, consequential, or other damages. Introduction. Take an evening walk around your neighborhood. As you stroll, count the windows of the homes you pass. If the lights are on, take a casual glance at what you can see from the outside. You don't need to snoop, just glance. Housing is everything. It is the basis for our ability to meet most of our other needs and wants. It is our tether to a place and to a community. Home is where we make nearly all our most consequential plans. Our career trajectories, our close relationships, and our health all depend in part on what kind of housing we are able to secure and where. Behind one of those windows, perhaps, is the place where somebody proposed to their sweetheart. Behind another may be a chair where someone sat and wept for hours after receiving tragic news. A college acceptance letter sits on a desk somewhere. A jury summons, unpaid bills, an eviction notice, a letter from summer camp, or one from rehab. Behind one of those windows, an elderly widow's live-in caretaker sweeps the floor. An office has been converted to a nursery. Somewhere, there is a couch where an old friend looking for a new start has been sleeping. In one of those homes, somebody has made plans to start a business, or move to another state, or finally buy that motorcycle. Ponder, for a moment, the irreducible complexity of the web of decisions that lead particular people to live out their most pivotal moments behind the particular windows of particular buildings. Let yourself be humbled by it. Most of us, at the end of the day, have pretty simple aspirations. We'd like to live a good life in a place that is prospering. And though each of us will define good life a little bit differently, nearly everyone's conception of good is going to involve a home in which they are secure and comfortable. This is the third in a series of books outlining the strong town's approach to the growth and development of cities and neighborhoods. Central to this approach is the recognition that cities are complex systems. They are shaped by countless decisions made by millions of individuals over time, with interconnections that are challenging to trace or fully grasp. When attempts are made to simplify or ignore this inherent complexity in organizing urban life, challenges and disruptions arise. The first Strong Towns book, Strong Towns, A Bottom-Up Revolution to Rebuild American Prosperity, reveals an epidemic of financial insolvency across North American local governments and outlines a citizen-led approach to growth and development that can make our communities financially strong and resilient. The second book, Confessions of a Recovering Engineer, describes the failures in spiraling costs and a mounting crash death toll of America's transportation system. It proposes a paradigm shift in how we plan and prioritize infrastructure projects. Both books, in large part, are stories of the failures of top-down institutions and the promise of bottom-up alternatives. There is massive complexity to the subjects covered in the first two books because of the human factor, our biases and fallibility, our capacity to make short-sighted decisions and convince ourselves of faulty priorities. However, both of those topics also have an element that is very discrete and quantifiable. Budget math is budget math. Asphalt is asphalt. Physics is physics. Housing is more complex and arguably has the highest stakes of all. In the early stages of developing this book, we would often mention to people that we were going to be co-authoring a book about the housing crisis. This tends to elicit nods of affirmation. Oh, wow, yes, what an important topic. Wait, which housing crisis exactly? You could probably survey 100 Americans and get 100 different answers as to what the housing crisis consists of. And if you had conducted this survey in 2009, you would have gotten a very different set of answers. Different still in 1975 or 1933. What you will not find is a lot of disagreement with the idea that there is a housing crisis. Virtually no one has ever responded by telling us that they don't think there's a problem. Indeed, the sense is widely and acutely shared across all strata of society that there is a profound problem with housing, and that sense is not new. If you have a modest income and/or rent your home, the what of the crisis is probably not all that elusive to you. Today, we have a crisis of unaffordability. This problem isn't new, but its contours have expanded. The U.S. Census Bureau reported in 2022 that nearly half of American renter households pay over 30% of their income in rent, an amount seen as likely to strain their personal finances and their ability to build up savings. Ownership is no easier. According to the Urban Institute, in December 2022, households earning the median U.S. income could only afford to purchase 20% of U.S. homes for sale. In some regions, homeownership is even more out of reach. In metropolitan Seattle, the figure was 7.6%. In Los Angeles, a mere 1.9%. It has long been true that burdensome costs, substandard conditions, and the constant threat of displacement have shaped the housing experience for poorer Americans. Today, a broader sense of precarity extends to a lot more people. Precarity is a more subtle issue than just unaffordability. We use it to convey that many people who can, on paper, afford their housing are nonetheless being stretched or finding their lives disrupted in some way. The housing options available to them do not grant them stability and the means to freely make important life decisions. A single parent raising a teenager in a high-crime neighborhood. A 30-year-old living with her aging parents. A 40-year-old far from his aging parents and unable to assist them with their health and mobility. Someone who cannot afford to move to pursue a desired career. Someone facing eviction who will be displaced from their neighborhood and with it from a community of shared culture, faith, or ethnicity. Someone fleeing prejudice and discrimination who cannot obtain a home in a community where they will be accepted. An elderly, disabled homeowner with significant home equity but cash poor who cannot move without losing a vital support network of friends and neighbors.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?